Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live stream. Today, I didn't really have anything planned for today's live stream, but I haven't gone live in a while, and so I thought I'd give you guys some value in terms of this topic of mediocrity. To mediocre is to be like everybody else. You're not willing to shine, you're not willing to stand out, you're not willing to be the center of attention, and you have a fear of being seen. Okay? I see a lot of you guys out there. You have a fear of judgment of what others think of you, and you have a fear of being seen. That fear of being seen is keeping you mediocre, is keeping you stuck, is keeping you in the same pattern that's been ruminating and running in the background. So, I see way too many people right now, and they're stressing out about Christmas. If you're a man, you shouldn't be stressing out about Christmas, okay? That's the thing, man. It's just a holiday. For me, every day is a holiday. I don't like wait for Valentine's Day, or I don't wait for very specific day to be grateful and to celebrate. If you don't like something about your life and you find that it's a negative part of your life, actually, Ivan posted this. He said that if you don't like something about your life, celebrate it. Celebrate even the bad times. Don't just celebrate the good times. That's like a crisis mentality of like, oh, only when things get really, really bad, then I'll start my gratitude practice. Only when my health gets fucked up, only then am I going to have a practice where I start working out again. Okay? You're waiting. You're waiting for one opportunity so that it clicks for you. You're waiting for a permission slip. Okay? Don't wait for any permission slips. Use every single thing around you as a permission slip for you to live your best life. Okay? This is what a true walking alchemist, a flow Jedi, does. You're the walking sweet spot. You're the embodiment of this flow state. And so you're moving through the world with that momentum and that energy. Okay? So there are 3 limiting beliefs that really limit us. Okay? I'm going to post about this today. First one is I'm not good enough. Let's break that down. Good enough for what, though? Good enough to be you? You're the best at being you. Are you not? There's nobody out there better at you than being you, better than you at being you, right? Like, it is just not possible. So, good enough for what, though? Good enough to get that job? Good enough to get that girl? Good enough to get, more hair transplant or something like this? I don't know. What is it that you want that you're not good at? That you're not competent in? You're not skilled in that area? Okay? I'm not good enough. Oh man, I've heard this so many times, and it's a very underlying belief that, oh, if I don't perform, I'm not loved, right? And it's just even below that, there's a lot of other beliefs connected to I'm not good enough. If you're not good enough, guess what? You're not going to be confident. Confidence is a crucial skeleton key, right? That opens up so many doors at once if you work on your self-esteem and your confidence. Okay? And it's not this fake braggadocious, like out there confidence that's trying to oh, let me push my confidence out there and oh, I'm so confident that, but then in your real life, you're not that. You're pretending that, right? And so there's this disconnect, there's this incongruency. Either do it and double down on the role of your confidence. Okay? If you're really trying to fake it till you make it or act it till you fact it, as I say in my book TPM, you're going to have to double down on that role. You're going to have to push it out there, but then don't break it. Don't break out of it. Someone sends you a nasty text, you break out of it. You go, oh. You go soft. You react. You break out of that pattern. To engage with a new pattern, you're going to have to stay in that new pattern, no matter what. And there's no stress based on that. It's just that is what you are. It's like just because you're mean yesterday doesn't mean that you're gonna be a mean guy. Oh, he was mean to me. That means he's a mean man. No. You were mean yesterday. Something triggered you. Something pushed your buttons, and so you were mean, you were rude. Does that make you a rude person? Does that one single behavior change your personality? No. It happens through repetition. It happens through a process of you doing it again and again and again and again and again. And after a while, that just becomes your norm. That just becomes your baseline. That just becomes your mediocrity. You see? So in mediocrity, you get stuck in the same lane. It's like you're driving and you're in the same lane. You're like, wait, why are there no roads here? That's mediocrity, okay? It's like you're going and you're just going with what everybody else is telling you. Your mom told you, hey, try out this job. It's going to be really good for you. And then you're like, no, I don't want to do it. And then she convinces you otherwise, and you go with that just to appease your family. Then you feel bad about it because you're not good in that subject or whatever. And then you start, circumnavigating this new situation, trying to stop overthinking, but you can't. But you haven't said anything to your mother, so she doesn't even know that you don't like it. She thinks you're doing really well. Like, that mentality is just weak, man. You guys get that? You're just going with whatever somebody else told you, okay? Now, at one level, when we really aspire to be great, we see a mentor and they give us certain tools and techniques. Sometimes we do the opposite, right? We'll be like, oh, this technique isn't for me. That's the second belief I'm telling you. That's just not me. That just isn't for me. I'm not going to do that. Oh, yeah, I might read a bunch of books, but I'm just not that much of a reader. I just don't read books. Well, what if you did and it improved your wisdom and your knowledge in action? That's what wisdom is, right? What if you actually started to read? Would that make you better as a human being or worse as a human being? Depends what you're reading, right? But in any case, it's going to make you better as a human being because you're accumulating these references of what you're seeing and reading out loud, or maybe you're listening to audiobooks. You're listening to that. You're listening to that author. This is why I don't like really, audiobooks that have a different, like someone else, reading out the book rather than the author. Like, I don't like that. Like, I will still listen to it, like certain books that have a lot of value, I will listen to it. But there's something so magical, something so transformational by listening to something that the author wrote themselves, by hearing their own voice the way it was supposed to be heard through their own experiences. And it's a very different experience. Right? I was listening to Michael Singer's Surrender Experiment just this morning, and it was so interesting to hear his voice because you can really hear the sincerity, right, and the genuineness in his voice that he's been through these experiences. Right? That man has been through a lot of experiences, and that's why he can live and talk about it. Right? And he can understand the power against this rampant mind that takes us by control all the time. I highly recommend that you guys check out the Surrender Experiment, by the way. I'm on this process. Obviously, a lot of my IMC brothers are on this process, so they know about it. But if you're coming across this channel for the first time, welcome. I haven't even introduced myself. I just started this live stream, but I'm Sumed Chatterjee. I'm a flow state consultant and a coach. I specialize in the flow state. I believe that is one of our greatest gateways towards our performance, towards our health, towards us getting the life that we truly want. In the IMC Nation process, we call it tapped in, right? So when we're tapped in, we're tapped into source energy. We're tapped into something greater than us. And so it disintegrates our self-concept, our ego, and it gets us towards a greater self-concept, which is a selfless concept. We become formless. We become the observers. Like, if you are your thoughts, then who's the one listening to it, right? That's the real question. If you're those negative thoughts in your head, who's the one listening to those negative thoughts? You see, a lot of the times heterosuggestions kick in. These aren't autosuggestions. These aren't affirmations that you're telling yourself, right? These are things that other people are telling you. Oh, so you might have heard that you're not good enough. You have to improve. And then that slowly starts to become a limiting belief around that, right? The second one I mentioned, that's just not me. That's just not me, man. I don't do that stuff. I don't work out, right? And you're limited to your identity. Your identity is what is either giving you the results in your life or giving you a lack of results in your life. So if you're getting a lack of results in your life, maybe it's time to change who you are. Maybe it's time to change your identity. Because all your identity is just a conglomeration of all of the experiences that you had, all of the things that you chose to believe in and responded to, and the memories and the traumas. All of that is a part of your belief system, right? The invisible thread of trauma is connected to these limiting beliefs. So one moment that the teacher, gave you an F on the report card or whatever, it created a limiting belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, right? Maybe somebody told you that you're ugly, you start to form the belief around, oh, I'm not pretty enough. But it all stems from that worthiness place, right? Enough, enough, enough. I'm not blank enough. I'm not blank enough, right? And so really start to understand how much of a stronghold that this has on you. Other people's opinions that are trickling in instead of you deciding and designing your life the way that you want it to be, like a flow Jedi should, right? Like a flow Jedi just decides, like, okay, I want my life to be like this, and I'm going to take this, this, and this action and move forward with momentum. But they can only do that from a place when they've cleared their shadows and they've gone through the dark night of the soul and they've dealt with their traumas. And they notice that everything that they're seeing is through these trauma goggles, right? And it's imprinting through their reality in that way. But once they can turn on the valve, as Michael Singer says, like turning on the valve, turning on the fountain within, right? That flow state valve that gets you that freedom, that acceptance, that ability to move through the world like a flowing human being, not a clunky, stuck human being who's trying to. It's like they're trying to say something, but their words are jumbling up, right? No, it's not that. It's not the record scratch of a same experience going again and again, because you've had many experiences like that, right? The self-sabotage kicks in like that, giving you the same lessons over and over and over again. It's like the same lesson through a different filter, right? I know this, maybe you know this, but it's giving you the same lesson with a different filter. Oh, we've come into this life to learn one big lesson, one big shift, one big lesson. And that big lesson, if we truly consolidate it, if we really reflect on it, if we really choose to embrace it and improve upon it, we're breaking generational curses and we're doing what we're here to do. I see a lot of empaths and starseeds reach out to me. They're like, oh, I want to go back home, right to my home planet. I don't want to be here right now. Well, guess what? You are here right now. You were meant to be here right now, to change something up in the collective. How do I make money as an empath? Well, guess what? What are you good at? What are you truly good at? Are you good at expressing yourself emotionally, as a lot of empaths are? Then creativity is where your work is at. My friend, if you can write down those words and monetize them in some way, if you can write down your words and monetize them, if you can express it through a song and monetize it, right? If you can have a creative outcome, a product, something you're passionate about, maybe it's sculpture, selling it on Etsy. This is where it starts, guys, right? It starts from that action. And even just a few days ago, I discovered that my solar plexus was very weak. It was kind of shut down in a sense. It was like not really embracing my true identity. And today I cleaned my room, right? I just started picking stuff up and I started rearranging them because I made the conscious decision yesterday. But yesterday I also, I yelled at my mom, and it was an unconscious trigger. But she just got to the point where she was like, you can't live like this. Your room is so messy and blah, blah, blah. And I just went ahead and I was like, wait a second here, right? And my pain body was talking. And I was like, you called me lazy all of my life. And, blah, 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 blah. And I felt that, like that urge to shout and scream. But once I did that, attention released. There's so many things that you need to say, that you want to say to people, but they haven't been released. Okay? No new karma is the motto of IMC. So understand that, man. Like, you really got to take out what is in your heart, this area, and get it off of your chest. That's what it means. Now, you can warn them. You can be like, I'm about to vent to you right now, and then go off. Like I gave my mom no warning. She just walked into a landmine almost. right? But in a sense, this is really what you want to be practicing. You want to practice expressing yourself from the truest, deepest, most comfortable, uncomfortable parts of yourself. Okay? And that's the thing, right? Like a lot of us fear that, people will reject us if we do that, right? But no, it's not even that, man. People won't reject us. We are going to reject ourselves if we don't say it. We're going to hurt ourselves more than we hurt that other person who's going to be offended by what we say. You see, the repression, the suppression has got to be solved, guys. This repression can't go on anymore. You've got to really step into yourself within this next year coming up. I know it's like, New Year's, then I'm going to change. No, change right now, even before the next year, right? Change when you got the drive, when you got the momentum inside of you, when you're watching videos like this and live streams like this. You can amplify, you can take my energy, you take my emotions and put it into your craft, put it into what you want to do. And blend with it, enjoy it, engage with it, fascinate yourselves with your gifts. Don't stay mediocre, don't settle. You see, settling is anti-flow state, because settling is a full stop. Settling is saying like, I'm done. I'm done on life's journey. Now I'm just going to chill the rest of the way. Okay? And my retirement plan, you want to retire from living and working and getting money? You want to retire from life? I know some people who are 107. My mom was telling me there's a doctor who's 102 or whatever, and he was still working. Where is his standard at, and where's your standard at? You want to retire at like 60 years old or whatever? Come on now. What are you gonna do for the I don't know? What if you live till 90? What are you gonna do for those 30 years or whatever? You know what I mean? Just chill. Oh yeah, I'm just chilling on a beach in Machu Picchu, man. Okay? That's a clear sign that you're not enjoying your work. You're not enjoying what you're doing. Okay? What is a work that you can continue to do way into the future? Now, you don't know what the future holds, obviously, but the mindset, it's the mindset, guys, right? Retirement is a mediocre mindset, right? Getting married, having kids, going to school, these are all these are conventional paths, guys, okay? And if you're here to live a conventional life, that's fine with me. Like, go ahead, go ahead and try that. Like, go ahead and do that. I mean, our ultimate goal in whatever we do is happiness at the end of the day, But if you aren't happy doing what you want, then that's a clear signal. It's a clear sign that something needs to change around, and something needs to change around fast. Okay? Now let's take the third belief. It's just not perfect yet. I can't put it out there because it's just not perfect yet. Why does it need to be perfect? Why does something need to be perfect in order for you to put it out? Is it because you're so attached to your self-image that you're seen as this ideal human being? And whenever people see my flaws and that I'm not ideal and I'm all doing all this stuff back behind the scenes, they're gonna judge me. Okay? I am by no means a perfect human being. But I put myself out there. Why? It's the law of expression. Whatever you express will then bring you a sense of freedom within, right? And then from that freedom, as you've expressed it out into the physical world, you've either disintegrated it or you've sent a broadcast system out into the world. So you can actually decide that I'm going to choose to think this thought right now, but a lot of your thoughts are unconscious. They're just coming in. They're a learned repetitive system, right? A learned response from the body that's been just perpetuated through your own life experiences. You've probably been running the same mistake a lot of your life, right? And again, it's that invisible thread that we can't really see. But once we know ourselves and what we're capable of, we know that we can decide and be like, hey, that's just not me yet. That's, hey, I'm going to change. I'm going to step into this new character archetype. I'm going to do the inner work. I'm going to put that energy into my ascension, my personal growth, my family, my encouragement that I give myself and my clients. How can I encourage my clients if I don't encourage myself? Ask yourself that as a business owner. Do you want to hire somebody who's teaching you about happiness but is depressed, is teaching about health but is obese? You don't. You don't. What if you became such a sexy individual, like so beautiful, like you looked at them, you were like, damn, son? Now, again, you might think, oh, that's superficial. But what about the 5D beauty that they possess, right? A lot of people's arguments is, oh, but I'm beautiful on the inside. Nobody's looking at your inside. Nobody knows what the hell is on your inside, okay? People are only judging you from the outside. So why not amplify it? Why not use this 3D physical realm to make you the version of you that you truly prefer? Okay? Now, that doesn't mean to give everything to the beauty industry and become a cult of like a beauty, like standard guru type beat, right? It doesn't mean like, excuse me. It doesn't mean like, give yourself up to the cult of the mainstream and be mediocre again, right? It means inventing your own sauce. It means, hey, I've got my own beauty routine, right? That works for me. And if it works for you, that's cool too, but this is what I do. And let me share part of my own life. Isn't that what vlogging is? Isn't that what we're doing in this culture right now? Where we're like, hey, check this out. This is what I do, right? And sure, some people are tapped into a very similar process. It's like, hey, people always tell you, hey, journal, meditate, sleep on time, do this, Okay, yeah, you go to a doctor. What do they tell you? Drink lots of water. Are you getting enough sleep? Like these are the baseline. Like these are the basic things, but we don't even get those things, right? But in any case, it doesn't matter because you are the only one who's experiencing your reality. Like you know exactly what you need to be doing. You do know. You just need confirmation from an expert. Oh yeah, I was right. The expert told me. I need to be working on my I need to be working on this area. Like, you know why you're suffering. You know why you're in this pattern. But you haven't decided. You haven't gotten to the choice point where you're like, hey, let me change this around. And following through on that. Okay? Following through to the finish line. This was something that I struggled with heavy, man. I would start projects and never finish them. Have you guys experienced this before? It's like you start something amazing, but then you never actually sit down and be like, okay, publish, print, cut, edit, out there. And that's the thing. That's another perfectionist mindset, right? It's not perfect yet. Oh, people aren't going to like it. Oh, I need to tweak this. Oh, what if? And yes, quality is important, but don't stress yourself out so much with the quality that the content is missing. Check out this flashy thing with no substance in it, with no real storytelling, with no function. Okay? This was the idea of poor theater, right? In Grotowski had this idea of poor theater. This is in my book, TPM, by the way. Theater is a great metaphor for life. I know this. Maybe you don't know this, but I'm telling you, I'm teaching you in this lecture. Grotowski had this thing called poor theater. He believed that all you need is just an actor on stage. Isn't that a beautiful metaphor on life? That you just need you? You just need you. Right? You don't need the fancy schmancy cars and the certifications and like all these people clapping for you, and you don't need the bedazzling lights and the jewelry and the sun. All of that is just extraneous. He said, if we could cut out all of that noise and focus on the music internally with the actor, creating something special, intimate with the audience in that present moment, we're choosing to shine, right? And the shine happens internally. It doesn't happen with the glitter and the gold on the outside. Now, the glitter on the gold on the outside is a thrill, right? It's a part of your performance. It's like, enjoy that, right? Embrace that. And, Live in luxury. Live that abundance. But don't get trapped in the echoes of the abundance that again becomes another limitation. Oh, that's just not me. I'm a rich person. I don't do that. Or, oh, now you're trapped again. Guess what? You got out of one wormhole, you stepped into another wormhole. Right? You allowed the money to corrode at you, to corrode your values away, to take your ethics and place one stamp of ethics onto another area. You became unethical. Through what? You stopped focusing on the internal world. So Michael Singer says this, guys, you got to focus on this, which then is a reflection of this. It wasn't only until I worked on my solar plexus yesterday that I cleaned my room today. Okay? I know this thing has been going on for a while, man, you know? But then again, I understand this model by attending the Beast Camp this month, right? Next month I already purchased it because I'm like, man, I'm getting a lot of momentum right now. I want to step into the next year, do that Beast Camp at the end of that year, and then I'm gonna keep accumulating on top of it, So what I realized, man, is me feeling that resistance, seeing the mess around my room, not wanting to fix that mess or clean up that mess in a sense, declutter. What that's telling me is I've been running a mental script, right? I've been only focusing on the mental script, and what the mental script is telling me, oh, I'm creative. I just can leave anything around anywhere, and it's completely fine, right? But the fact that it's enlivening to be in a very beautiful place, and that's a reflection of the inside, right? I hadn't really considered actively through the action of actually, fixing that internal like switch, like turning the dial, okay, and letting the white light of source energy shine into it, and then being able to stack on top of that through my rigorous maintenance to break down this old pattern. Now, I'm sure it's going to be messy again, but that's now become my dojo. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying to you. You've got to make every single little thing that is resistance, that is clunky in your life, into your dojo. That is when you can practice. Okay? Your wife keeps yelling at you. You're tolerating it. After a certain point, you're going to snap. Be careful of that moment, right? Why not, as she disrespects you, you call her out on it in that very moment. You expose it. You become the energy of the honey badger, right? It's like, go into it. Right? The samurai says you can't hesitate with the sword. You're going to injure yourself, in a sense, right? So you got to be sharp with this. You've got to maintain boundaries within your life. You can't just let other people just cross over it and take control. You've been living in this energy of passive aggressiveness and tolerance a lot of your life. But guess what? You're worthy to change your life, to have better values, to cut off the people that don't serve you. You do have that right. So you can be like, hey, listen, I think what you said is very disrespectful, actually. And then she's going to go, huh? Excuse me? You're excused. Right? And you go into that energy and you move with it, man. You don't just sit back and you're just like, oh, man, I'm treating me like that. I can't believe, oh, man. And like years and years and years and years and years. And guess what? You're 50 years old. Guess what? Your old mother, which is like they're like a granny at this point, are still going, hey, you know what? You should do this and you should do that. And it's still, the pattern is still running for you, my friend. Okay? People are fearing, like, seeing their Christmas, like their family at Christmas time, right? I don't want to be around my toxic family. What if that was your dojo? What if that was like your dojo to deal with that trauma? And you actually practiced holding yourself accountable, saying what you needed to say, not making a big scene, but actually processing everything that's being said. You know what I'm saying? Omar, what's happening, brother? So So I'm talking about like this idea, right, of people complaining about going back to their families and like, oh, I'm gonna get triggered and whatever in Christmas time. I think that's ridiculous. I think that people need to actually process their emotions away from their family and with their family too. You can't just consciously like be like, oh, not again, right? Oh no, it's another Thanksgiving dinner. I'm invited, and all my relatives are gonna say all this stuff about vaccines and all COVID and blah blah. Like, listen, man, listen. You just gotta live your life to the best ability that you can. To be so caught up in the mundane, to be so caught up in the rat race, right? Guess what? If you win the rat race, you're still a rat, right? If you win the rat race, you're still a rat. If if you're trying to break out the hamster wheel, you're still a hamster. Okay? You're not a lion in the jungle, free, wild, doing what you want, getting up when you want, going to sleep when you want, eating what you want, when you want, how you want. No, there's a freedom associated with it, but that lion is running a primal script, but they're also in this freedom and this sovereignty in their life. They're not trying to second guess themselves. Yeah, I live inside of the US, brother. I'm in India right now, Kolkata, in fact. That's my motherland. I've lived in the US before, and London, and Thailand, and Switzerland. So that's why I don't have an accent and I don't speak like this, like, hello, welcome to my YouTube, right? I don't speak like that, okay? Because I've trained myself and I know that voice is not sexy. Okay? Now, I'm talking to a lot of you Indian guys out there, Indian people in general. You've got to get vocal training, okay, to a point where you can actually access this level of abundance, okay? I would see a lot of people that, like, they're trying this, like, whatever they're doing, right? They're trying to improve their game. They're trying to, go around and be like, but they still have this accent that's, like, preventing them. Why is that preventing you? Why can't you get some vocal training, coach your voice, right, and be able to actually access this? Because this happened to me unconsciously, right? I was growing up around different countries, and this is all I heard. I heard people talking like this. I didn't hear this. But what I did know is the law of theater, right? I grew up training my acting muscles and being able to step into that, because only then could I understand that, hey, there was a potential in me to actually change things around and change my life around. Now, some people might be being, oh man, that's fake. Why are you being so fake, right? But the thing about it is it's not fake. What if the version right now is the fake version and the real you is the confident you, is the abundant you, is the one that has the success? What if that was the real you and the version you're being right now is the fake you? Oh, let's flip the script on them, all right? Let's understand that we have a very particular pathway for ourselves. And, there's going to be a lot of random shit that comes in that prevents that pathway, right? There's going to be a lot of surprises along this pathway, but we can't let that skew us away from our mission, right? We can't let some random person come in and be like, oh, really? You're doing that thing? But, oh man, that's risky. You're an entrepreneur, but isn't that like really risky? Like, yeah, it's risky. Fuck yeah, it's risky. That's why I'm doing it. I love it. Right? Every day is a challenge. I'm momentum, like I'm buzzed, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing the things that I know is giving me the most resistance, but at the same time, once I break through that resistance, I know that there's going to be an outcome involved. There's going to be a freedom of expression. There's going to be a sense of, a focus. I was confused because I could tell you're outside the USA. You speak like you're from the USA. Yeah, man. I've also gotten like, a lot of people told me that I speak like slightly Canadian, and I'm like, I don't even see that. But anyway, I'm glad that you recognize that, man. But hey, it helps me to communicate, in a sense, because a lot of my clients are from the US. You know what I mean? A lot of Western therapy and like healing is really messed up. You know what I mean? To get to the source of the Indian, Vedic wisdom as well, and being here and like soaking in the roots of my own culture, right? Because I used to live in the US for college, right, for like 4 years. And I just noticed the difference. There's a difference in the beingness. There's a difference in the lifestyle, right? here in India, people focus so much on the internal world, and there in the US, people focus on the external world. But what if we could merge both of the East and the West, the spiritual with the performance science, right, of the West, and merge them together, right? That is that sweet spot that we all need to thrive with. Because I see people outside here in India, and they're impoverished, man. My heart hurts for them. But at the same time, I see that glow in their eyes, and they're happy and smiling, a lot of them. They've made their lives simple. And then I've talked to billionaires, like people in, abroad, and they're miserable. They're miserable. And it's like, whoa, what if we could get to that level of fulfillment, like that internal fulfillment, and at the same time, that level of excellence and performance and crushing it in the world, And blending, though, I think a lot of people are trying to blend those worlds, but it's difficult, man. It really is difficult because it's like two paths and it's like going two separate directions. But what we have to do is kind of like, bring them back close and do an infinity sign almost, in a sense, with them, right? But yeah, man, I'm kind of going off. This is like a rant. This is like a rant today. I feel a lot of energy. I feel a big shift. Yeah, man. So yeah, man, I'm ending up this live stream real soon. So if you have any other questions for me, it could be about anything. I mean, this particular live stream was about mediocrity, right? And like, don't settle. Don't conclude your journey and be like, I've reached mastery now, right? I'm at boss level now. And then you stop playing the video game of life and you just become lazy. You just become complacent. You just become, stagnant with your life, in a sense. You know what I mean? So don't conclude the journey yet. Give it a ... Give it a semicolon and keep moving forward, right? That's kind of the main momentum of the flow state and this live stream today. But yeah, man, basically, I drew this yesterday also just randomly, man. Like, check this out. See, this is like how my mind works, right? It works in this very, how would I say, stream of consciousness manner. And I don't filter anything, right? Oh, man, can you guys even see this? Okay. Yeah, so I'll just start drawing one thing, right? And then I'll add to that one thing, and then I'll connect it to another thing. And then, that's kind of the way my mind works. I'm able to interpret that through a drawing and put it down on a piece of paper. So then I can confront that and be like, whoa, I was thinking of this, and then hey, and when we can see that analogy and understand that our minds, what's going on in our minds is art. It's either really, really shitty art, like bad art, or it's a masterpiece. So that's how we've got to sharpen our minds. It could be the most beautiful creator or the most, ugly destroyer, our minds, right? And it's how we're choosing to maintain it. Okay. Yeah, so have I ever studied NLP? It's funny you say that, man. I'm actually going to be starting an NLP course from February next year. But I do know a lot of NLP concepts, and I've studied it on my own time. Yeah, I love NLP, man, because again, it's one of those things that a lot of people write off immediately. They're like, oh, NLP, like pseudoscience, whatever it is. I found it so beneficial because it connects us to our learning styles. It connects us to, our words and the power that our words have over our, experience. Our words create our worlds, right? So when we study the linguistics, and the connection that it has to our brain systems and be able to actually express that, it's powerful. From listening to you speak, I could tell that some of the concepts are correlated. And I've also heard you speak on positive psychology as well, right? So my background is in positive psychology, right? And yeah, it's that mindset of like, hey, we're powerful already. We're whole already, right? But the fact is, in positive psychology, they have that thing that Barbara Fredrickson is the woman who has this idea of the positivity ratio. So she says that, one negative thought is equal to 3 positive thoughts. So negative thinking is actually way more powerful than positive thinking, right? And so we've got to be way more positive than we think we do in order to actually balance out, right? To level the playing field in our own minds. Been studying since last year. It changed my life and the way I think, even though I haven't been formally trained in it as of yet. Yeah, man. Oh, NLP is powerful, brother. Definitely keep exploring, keep learning. I've learned a little bit from Vince Kelvin, who's like, he's a street pickup guy, really long time. I learned from him. Of course, one of my mentors is AZD, and I've been learning from him really heavily, a lot of concepts that kind of connect to that NLP, because NLP is kind of, is directly kind of linked to like that hypnosis area, right? Because it's still working with the paradigms of the mind and understanding how the mind functions. So in any case, like if you learn some hypnosis, there's going to be a little bit of crossover with NLP and hypnosis, together. And yeah, I've noticed a lot of crossover in other fields as well. It's like everything is connected, right? It's like I start learning something about biomechanics and I realize that it relates to some other like, thing that I've learned about years ago. And that's the thing. It's like all we learn, everything is connected. So the NLP isn't really going to help you just in one area. It's going to kind of permeate, right? It's going to ripple across the different things that you're really interested in. And that's really cool, man, that you're able to study it, apply it, right, and change your life and your way of thinking. That's dope. That's really dope. Thank you for sharing, Omar. Thank you for being here on this live. Any final questions, man? I'm about to wrap this up and, get into some other things related to my business right now. So, man, maybe do a little stretching too. NLP and hypnotherapy is where it's at, man. I think so, man. Because hey, you could talk about the subconscious mind all day, right? But actually doing something about it and learning the tools, like the weapons, the intuitive weapons that we have, and studying it from like someone like Richard Bandler and Grinder, and how they've approached that. I heard a funny story about NLP and how the cop. I don't know if this is true or not. This might be a rumor, but the cops like pulled him over, right? And there was like a neurology textbook, like something like a dictionary, and he was a programmer or whatever. And then basically like they started to the cops pulled him over, right? And he was asking him, "Excuse me, sir, what is it that you do?" Right? And he saw the neurology dictionary, and he's like, I'm a neuro-linguistic programmer. They came up with it on that spot. I don't know if that's true, but that's a wild story, and that's a great origin story. That really cool, man. So I think that's awesome, though, and I think that being able to ride with whatever resistance comes up, and like someone's challenging on the spot, and you come up with a whole theory based on it, like that's dope. I love that mindset. Even if that I don't know if that story is true, but I definitely remember hearing it a long time ago when I was learning this stuff. But yeah, man, can we have a quick chat on Telegram? Yeah, sure, brother. I know where the story's going. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so awesome, man. Have an incredible day. Whoever is listening, thank you for tuning in. May the flow be with you, and stay legendary. Let's get it, baby. Upward spiral, man. May we never be the same again.